Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of a two-piece outfit that I've been doing last week and this week's episode, which I will be hopefully wearing for a festival. So it's a bit more out there, a bit more extravagant, and I'm so here for it. Today we're gonna make the top, so if you haven't watched the skirt, then you should definitely do that before this video because it's kind of like building on top of each other. And we're kind of using parts of the skirt pattern, so go ahead and click up in the eye right here to watch part 1. For the top, I actually did a small drawing for the whole outfit now because I was like, the skirt turned out really pretty, so I want to do something on theme for the top. And this right here is what I came up with. Now you can see that there is a t-shirt underneath this. That's a bodycon t-shirt with like a lettuce seam everywhere. And I found this material here that I was able to kind of rip or kind of destroy. I don't know if you can see that. Let me show you the actual piece. But it's basically a super lightweight kind of see-through knit that I was able to pull some runs. I was kind of going for this destroyed look right here, which I will put underneath the bodice, which is going to be kind of a corset top that will have a lacing in the back, and I think I'll do a zipper on the side because I don't want to do the lace up every time that I want to wear this. And it has like a big cutout here right in the front, as you can see here, so I'm not sure yet if I want to have like skin showing or like in the drawing if I want to have the black t-shirt underneath. So that is something that I'll decide once the bodice is done, because then I can put everything on and decide whether it's okay for me to, you know, cut this short so that you only have the shoulders covered basically, and I'm gonna cut it right here. So that is one option, or option B, leave it as is, cut it short to like the waist and have it more covered up. It also depends on how the weather is gonna be. So, but I'm super excited to start this. I used the bodice block of this dress right here. That is my MIDI dress Aurora, and I kind of changed it. I actually recorded me changing the pattern up. So basically I draped a new neckline and then I just changed the pattern pieces in the front of my dress Aurora and like redid the whole thing on the computer and came up with the pattern that I have in front of me here. Now I will add this pattern to like a two-piece combo pattern on my Etsy shop, so everybody who is interested in the skirt and top combo can get it as a bundle. I will put a link down below. I don't think that I'll upload this on its own because it's kind of the same as the MIDI dress, so if you already have the MIDI dress you can just do the changes that I did and then you get the same pattern, you know what I mean? I mean, leave me a comment down below if you want to have the corset top as a separate single pattern. I'll upload it to Etsy as well, whatever you guys want. So as of right now it's not uploaded, it's just in the bundle. Or I also link the MIDI dress Aurora down below so you can do your own changes with the bodice, which is actually quite a nice basic bodice for like stuff like this. So that's something good to have anyways. So first up, what we want to do is actually do the cutout in the very front, so you can already kind of see the heart shape here. But before we do that anyways, we have to close the front dividing seam. So let's put the cup hood away and let's do right sides together of the side front and front pieces. Make sure to match up the notch here. That's the bust notch, and then you want to like align these pieces like so. They should perfectly match up. So since they're like curved differently, it might look like they're not matching up, but they will. So just make them match up. Use a lot of pins if you need to, and I also suggest to always sew from the waist up. I don't know why, but that always comes out better. So that's what I will be doing here as well. Okay, let's go ahead and iron this. I also overlocked the front dividing seam. A tailor's hem like this is super nice for this kind of seams because you can just like, you know, pull it over the round shape here and then you can just easily iron it towards the side. Depending on what kind of fabric you have, you might also need to clip into the seams here at the waist and here at the bust. For me, it seems fine. Like I have a weird fabric. I was talking more about that in my first part of this outfit outfit, but it's kind of a jersey stabilized with interfacing. I don't know. But what I also found out was that it just shrinks like hell when I iron it. So this would have been a good candidate to pre-wash. Now I have to kind of check whether my pieces are still the right size, and I have to outline the shape, as you can see here with the black marker that I did, so that I know where my stitching line is, and that's kind of annoying, but it's fine. Like, it's doable. So now that we have the front panel like this, we can go ahead and take our cup hood like this and put it right sides onto our cup seam. Now the thing is, right here we're gonna have the cutout, so it's not gonna be in the piece itself, but you're gonna have your stitching line somewhere, and your stitching line should be like 1 centimeter in from all the sides. For me, it's not because of the fabric that I just talked about. So for me, it's basically where my stay stitch right here of my interfacing tape is. I just marked it with a cross, and that is until where I need to cut into my front piece in order to be able to sew my cup hood on this right here. Because now I can tilt it like this and sew right over here with this piece, which is, you know, the opposite of this piece. So now I can go ahead and match up both pieces with all of the seams and notches that are in it. And what I like to do here is use a needle, stick it through this point that I marked on my cup hood, and now stick it through right here, which should be the point that I marked. So now from this angle, I can pin these right on top of each other and then just align the rest. And the other side, this gets like tilted open like this. So I can now also put a needle in here. We're lucky this time because the corner will be cut away, so it does not matter how it looks like this. And now I can go ahead and sew the cup hood onto the front piece. And that is what it looks like. So we can go ahead and overlock the seam, and I think I'll also understitch it. And as you can see right here, this turned out really well. Not that we're gonna need it, but still, it's kind of satisfying. So now that I finished the front of the bodice, I kind of spontaneously decided that I actually want to have a structured bodice. I made this interlining right here, which is like super stable. I used like a super thick interfacing for stabilizing this layer, and it's also on like a thick canvas that I used for my skirt. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go check it out up here in the eye. So what I will be doing now is to kind of try to put this right on top of each other. Since this layer shrunk a bit, I can't align the edges, but I will just go from this center point right here and try to match that up on both layers. So I'm just gonna try to put this over top here somewhat similarly. And here for the front dividing seam, I'm thinking maybe I have to do this on the bust so that I get like this round seam here. Kind of nice. He's doing nonsense again. Look at his foot. I can keep him kind of distracted if I put him in front of the window right here. So he's gonna sit right there, hopefully. It's also so random where the fabric shrunk and where it didn't. You can see it right here, how mismatched it actually is. Like, can you see how the seams are mismatched? Usually, if you were to add a structural layer like this one, like this is basically acting as interlining now, you would cut out all your pattern pieces and then you would baste them together before you even start sewing this. And then you don't have these issues as you would sew all the seams together with the interlining already part of the shell pattern piece, basically. So that is not something that you would normally face as an issue. And I think I'm gonna add top stitches at this point to like the dividing seam to like kind of use the layers together and pretend like I planned this from the very beginning. I think I will be first of all top stitching here down the front dividing seam to fix the center in place. I think I'll also do a center seam just from down here all the way to down here. And then once all of that is fixed, I might add like different ones in the center of the panels and then another one around the whole perimeter of the front piece here. So it's fused together now, as you can see right here. That's what it looks like. I think the cups shape really well now with the indent lining that I added. And now we can go ahead and cut out the heart shape here in the front. So for that, I'm going to take my template that I still have from my skirt. And it's gonna work exactly the same as for the skirt. So we want to, first of all, add interfacing to the shell, which I already did. And now from the right side, you wanna draw in the shape of the cutout. I have my facing already prepared, which means shape drawn on, interfacing ironed on and overlocked. And now I can put this right sides together and align it with what I just drew on top of my shell here. Now that that's pinned on, we can go ahead and sew right on top of the shape here. And now, just as we did for the skirt, we're just gonna cut into the shape, make like a 0.5 centimeter seam allowance. I have to have sharp scissors for this because these are a lot of layers now. And you're just gonna cut around it. Probably would have been wiser to have like a bigger seam allowance here instead of this itty bitty teeny tiny one, because it's easier to turn it right sides out, but oh well. And I'm gonna use hem tape to fix the facing towards the wrong side, as it's the easiest. You can top stitch it as well, but if you don't fix it in place with the strength, like the tension that's gonna be on this corset, this is probably gonna pop open and the facing is probably gonna show on the right side, which we want to avoid. We can do that by gluing it down. And I think I'll just do it like bit by bit, because otherwise this won't be possible. Okay, let's try to add hem tape and let's try to make the ditch of the seam sit on the inside. Okay, that turned out better than expected, and I did the pole test already on the bust. Like, this does not open up more than it should. Like, I think if it opens up a bit more, it makes a prettier heart, but you know, we're gonna see how it actually looks like on the body, but it looks very promising. And I think the cutout right there also is really cute. I'll see if it's too much for me without a shirt underneath, but it looks really cute. Let's continue with the back and the interlining of the back that we're actually going to baste together before we sew it onto the front. I will also do wrong sides together as I did for the front. Okay, and now I have to remember that I wanted to add a zipper to the side. And I'm gonna have it on the left side. And for that, I'm just gonna use like any thicker partable metal zipper that I have. If you've never shortened a metal zipper before, you basically just need some tools like pliers. I like to use like this kind of wire cutter plier tool thingy. And now we're ready to put the zipper in. What I like to do for zippers is to basically close the seam where the zipper goes in. Use like a wide stitch because we're gonna undo it right after. So let's just really quickly sew this shut. You don't have to back tag and nothing. It's literally, we're gonna undo it in a second. Let's iron the seam open. And you want to get the seam allowance super flat. So use like a wooden tool or something like that to actually press it down after you ironed. And now, with this seam in place, we can use our zipper, close it. It's gonna sit right here. And then pin it down the middle with like our seam allowance untouched, unteethed, like this. And I'm just gonna pin it to both sides. Try to like get it onto the center of the seam as best as possible. And then up here, we're gonna have to like kind of do this in 2 goes. So I'm gonna pin down one side first. That is gonna sit as straight as it possibly can. And then once that in place, you're gonna have to move the zipper right here to another spot so that you can also sew this neat and tidily onto the other side. So let's use a one-sided zipper and go all the way down. Okay, and now with the zipper in place on both sides, we can go ahead and open our seam again, like this. And this is what it looks like. So I like to give it another press, and that's that. So super, super nice. So let's put the other piece on the right side in normally with the right sides facing, and then we're just gonna close the seam. let's iron the seam allowance open. I went ahead and overlocked the seams separately before that, and it's already looking really, really nice. I'm super happy with how it already looks. So what we need to do now is actually add the facings. And here in the back, I thought it would be a great idea to do a mitered corner with the back panel right here. So I'm just gonna fold it right at the notches, which is my fold line. You can also check that in the pattern. It should be at 5 centimeters. And I'm just gonna have this ironed like this. Same to the other side. And that's gonna be the final center back, where I'm gonna put eyelets to have a like decorative lace up as we have the zipper. So really nice to get in and out of. I would like to overlock the center back already, because once we have the mitered corner here, it's going to be an edge here and you're not going to be able to reach it nicely. So I'm going to overlock the center back like facing seam here. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to overlock the raw edges of my facing, so the ones that are gonna sit towards the inside. So for my hem, this one right here, and for the upper part, this one right here. We're gonna have to, you know, same as we did for the skirt, we're gonna have to cut down the facing so that it's not gonna be in the way here. And I just see that I'm missing one piece here. I'm quickly going to add that as well. And now I wanna go ahead and just put right sides together of the neck facing right here, and then I'll do the same for the hem facing like this. And I'm gonna match up as per usual all the notches, everything like that. And I'm gonna understitch the seam because this is super bulky. And if I don't understitch it, I don't think that it's gonna look good. And right here, I almost forgot. Before you put the neck facing on, you're gonna find notches here in the front that are gonna indicate where you wanna put your satin band for the straps. And I'm gonna use black ones to be on theme with the bows that I have in my skirt. I'm gonna use that much, which is like 45 centimeters per strap. So I'm gonna cut 4 times 45, 50 centimeters, however you wanna have them. Okay, and now you want to put the satin band right in the center of that notch and sandwich that in between the facing and the shell. That way it's getting sewn in seamlessly. Same to the other side. And in the back panel, I'm just gonna use the middle of my back panel, so right here, and I'm gonna put my satin band there. So I have it at 9 centimeters, measured from both sides. Obviously, since the zipper is in one side, kind of all over the place today again, you're not gonna need to close the side where the zipper is. What I like to do here is I already ironed this towards the inside. And then I'm just going to pin this right there with the fold already folded. Same to the other side here. And this is gonna reach all the way towards the facing of the back. We're gonna have to cut it short anyways, but I'm gonna just sew it in one go. We're gonna have to do a mitered corner here like this. It's gonna be at a 45-degree angle, and we're gonna cut it down once this is sewn in place and like figured out and everything. So one step at a time. And now we can go ahead and sew the neckline. In order to understitch, you're gonna have to cut towards the stitching line here in the center front. Be careful not to destroy the stitches. So just cut right towards the stitches here. And everything else should be fine. Yeah, this should be fine. So let's understitch the seam. Okay, and now that the piece is understitched and ready to iron, we can fold the facing of the neck towards the wrong side so that the ditch of the seam is only visible on the facing side right here. You can see. And I want to fold the seam allowance kind of towards the facing here and just iron it so that once I fold over the facing, now the teeth are kind of burning hot. This lays nicely up here with the seam allowance towards the inside here, and I can now iron this properly like this. And now I can continue doing that to the vest here. So I want to have a mitered corner right here. That means that I have to mark a few corners, pieces, whatever, and then I want to mark the point where this meets. So right here, and I need to fold this towards the side, and right here. And now once I unfold this, this needle is gonna get folded right on top of the other needle here, so that these match up. And here, this corner needs to be right where the notch is, so like right here where it also meets. So what I want to do now is grab a marker and a ruler and draw in my stitching line, which goes from this point over here all the way towards this point right here at the notch. And I can sew this line shut, and I repeat the same for the other side here as well. And now that we sewed this corner, I already turned this right sides out to check whether everything looks great, and it does. So now I can go ahead and just simply cut down the seam allowance like this. And I think I want to iron this open just so that it is fixed in place, kind of. And I want to cut into the corner here, like that. And now, putting my finger in here, I can turn this right sides out and use a tool to poke out the edge, like that. And now we can just go ahead and iron this once more, and that's what it looks like from the outside. So here on this corner here, we're gonna put eyelets and do a lace up that you could use if you want to, but since we have the zipper, we're just gonna lace it up once and then, you know, that's that. And use the zipper to get in and out of the corset. And I'm gonna do the same here. And they also fit together really, really well, which is super nice. So let's continue ironing the facing, and we have to cut away the facing here as well. So I'm going to cut away a few triangles here in the rounded area at the front so that it lays nicer once we iron it over, and instantly it lays nicer. So before we actually fix the facing in place here and cut it down and everything, we have to attach the hem facing to the corset, because we're going to have to do another set of mitered corners here. For that we need this to be loose, and after that we can like use either hem tape or like hand sew it or top stitch or whatever preferred method you have to actually fix the facing into place at the wrong side of the corset. So the hem facing works exactly the same. We're just gonna put this right here and then do mitered corners at the back ends here as well. Okay, so I prepared this now. For my pattern, I couldn't do a mitered corner here. I'm going to change that for your guys' pattern, that you also have a neat corner like this one down here and no overlock edge here going down. So don't worry about that. It's basically the same as for this up there. So now I want to go ahead and iron the hem. You probably want to cut towards the stitches here as well, because this is a round hem and it's just gonna lay nicer. And you want to cut towards the stitching line here, towards the tip there. Otherwise you can't turn this right sides out like this. And I think I'll start ironing from the center front and work my way towards these sides. And here I want to do the same that I did for the zipper up there. So I'm just gonna fold everything towards the inside and then fold up my facing like this and iron it down. Just gonna put a needle in so that everything stays in place like this. This is what it looks like from the right side. So it looks already really, really nice here in the center front. And as you can see, there is a whole bunch of facings looking through the hole here. We're gonna cut that down in a second as well. And that's what I did for the center back piece as well. Now to fix everything in place, I'm gonna do the cheaty hem tape version. You can obviously top stitch in place, hand sew, whatever you like. It really does not matter. I'm going to use hem tape. Okay, let's add the eyelets. And I'm just gonna use my pattern as a guide. You know, just use any tool that you have for eyelets or hand sew the eyelets. I'm gonna use the same satin band here for the lace up. I'm just gonna do that very loosely, and then once I put it on, I'm actually gonna tie it tightly. And now I have to figure out, because the top is done now. This is what it looks like. I'm super, super happy with how everything turned out. I think this is such a cute detail. It's structured, the whole bodice. The heart does not open up widely, like it's structured enough so that it stays. And it has the zipper here, so it's easy to get in and out of, and the lace detail in the back. Straps right here I have to tie as well once I put it on. And now I have to figure out whether I want to cut the shirt short so that it's going to be only from armpit to armpit basically, and the heart cutout is gonna get naked or not. That's something that I'm gonna decide once I put everything on, if I feel comfortable. It also depends on the weather, honestly. If it's rainy, 17 degrees, I might wanna have this underneath. So that's gonna be something I'm gonna do actually on Saturday. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I'm super, super happy with how this turned out. I think it's gonna look super cute on its own as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't seen the skirt that I made to this, go ahead and check out the link in the eye and in the description down below. As I said in the very beginning already, this is gonna be available as a bundle together with the skirt, as it is made from the bodice of my MIDI dress Aurora. So if you already have this is not too hard to adapt from this pattern if you just use the bodice. And if you are really interested in the pattern of the top only, leave me a comment down in the description below and I'll just make it available as a single pattern as well if you want me to do that. But you know, pop it in the comments down below. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you'll get notified every time that I post. I post on Sundays, so you can keep an eye out for that. Go ahead and check out my social media and follow me there. I'm posting loads of reels all about my projects, so that's interesting too. A special thank you to my channel members. You can get exclusive benefits through the link down below. And the most direct way to support me and keep videos just like this one coming is to head over to my Etsy store and check out all the patterns and support me that way. And now I'm going to show you what this whole outfit looks like together in the videos at the very end. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you next Sunday. Bye guys!